Today we are going to learn about breast carcinoma part 2. Myself, Dr. Mukesh Pancholi, Professor and Head Department of Surgery, GMC Surat. Let us start with this statement of Leo Tolstoy. The two most powerful warriors are patience and time. And this is time tested, and with experience we come to know that this is the only way to be succeed and to be satisfied in life. We will see today starts with staging of breast carcinoma, treatment options, and specific clinical situations in these 10 points. So first we will see AJCC 2010 7th edition TNM staging. This is a widely used and valid in practice. Recently in 2017 8th edition has been published, but there are minor changes, so that we will see only this 7th edition in detail. TNM classification includes T, N, and M. So T stands for tumor, N stands for nodal stage nodal states, M stands for metastasis. So this is basically clinical TNM classification. So for that we require perfect clinical examination. While we are doing examination of patients, we have to keep in our mind tumor TNM classification. So examining breast, examining tumor characteristics, examining axilla, and rest of the systemic examination for metastasis. Keep in our mind this TNM classification. So this is basically clinical TNM classification. So TX, this tumor cannot be assessed as if previously operated. T0, no clinical evidence of primary tumor on palpation. There is no breast lump, but there is manifestation of malignancy in form of metastasis or axillary lymph node. TIS means carcinoma in situ, can be ductal carcinoma in situ, lobular carcinoma in situ, and Paget's disease. Paget's disease is a pathology of nipple areola complex, eczema-like reactions. But if it is with tumor, and then staging will be done according to tumor. So let's see what stands to T1. So T1 mic, it is microinvasion, less than 0.1 centimeter in greatest dimension, it included in T1 mic. T1 in the sense tumor is 2 centimeter or less than, and it is divided into T1A, B, and C. So less than 2 centimeter tumor, in which 1A includes more than 0.1 up to 5.5 centimeter, more than 0.5 to 1 centimeter, and more than 1 centimeter up to 2 centimeter. That we can see in figure. T2 stands for tumor more than 2 centimeter, but not more than 5 centimeter. So 2 to 5 centimeter, and T3 stands for tumor is more than 5 centimeter in greatest dimension. T4 is tumor of any size, but with involvement of skin or chest wall. So T4A is involvement of chest wall. It doesn't include pectoralis major. T4B is a skin changes with ulcerations, PD orange, satellite nodules, but puckering, dimpling are not exclusively stands for T4. T4C is both T4 and T4B, and T4D is inflammatory carcinoma. Nodal status. NX again cannot be assessed, previously removed. N0, no palpable lymph nodes. N1 suggests ipsilateral same side axillary lymph node, mobile and free. N2 again divided into two portions. N2A is only axillary lymph node, but which are fixed or matted. N2B ipsilateral internal memory nodes in absence of clinical palpable axillary nodes. So N3 suggests you of again ABC, and 3A is the ipsilateral infraclavicular level 3 nodes, N3B is ipsilateral axillary internal memory both, and 3C is ipsilateral supraclavicular nodes. Previously, supraclavicular nodes were considered as a metastasis, but in this classification now it is included as is N3C. Distant metastasis. So M0, there is no distant metastasis. It includes micrometastasis. So what is micrometastasis? So no clinical or radiologic evidence of distant metastasis, but deposits of molecularly or microscopically detected tumor cells detected in circulating blood, bone marrow, or other non-regional node tissues that are no larger than 0.2 mm in a patient without symptoms of signs of metastasis. M1 suggestive distant metastasis, metastasis to contralateral supraclavicular node. So certain specific terminologies are there in TNM classification. So according to pathology, immunohistochemistry, and polymerase chain reaction. PT is suggestive pathological classification. Histologically, IHC with IHC or PCR. N0, I or plus, is a lymph node status confirmed with immunohistochemistry. N0 mole, it is histologically negative nodes, negative or positive polymerase chain reaction. N1 mic is a micrometastasis, so more than 0.2 mm up to 2 mm or more than 200 cells. Certain nodes are there in 7th AJCC classification. So clinically detected is defined as detected by imaging studies, excluding lymphoscintigraphy. So this staging system is not only after clinical examination, but we have already done radiological examination and pathological examination in form of biopsy or FNSC. Then we includes in this staging system. By clinical examination and having characteristic highly suspicious for malignancy or a presumed pathological micrometastasis based on fine needle aspiration biopsy with cytological examination. If a patient present with M1 prior to neoadjuvant systemic therapy, the stage is considered stage 4 and remains stage 4 regardless of response to neoadjuvant therapy. So stage designation may be changed if post-surgical imaging study reveals the presence of distant metastasis. So this study is within 4 months of diagnosis in the absence of disease progress or patient has not received neoadjuvant therapy. This is the condition, but stage cannot be changed. Post-neoadjuvant therapy is designated with clinical YC in clinical classification or pathological YP prefix. So no stage group assigned if there is a complete pathological response to neoadjuvant therapy. For example, clinical stage YC T0, YC N0, YC M0. So no nodal metastasis, distant metastasis, tumor is not palpable, post neoadjuvant status. But so it is prefixed with YC. Suggest this is without an associated tumor, clinical or pathologically classified as tumor in carcinoma in situ. With demonstrable mass, clinical or pathological classified according to size of tumor. Dimpling of skin, nipple retraction or any other skin change except T4B and T4D may occur in T1 to T3. Indirectly, only dimpling of skin, nipple retraction without evidence of ulceration, infiltration, pudiorange, this will be happen in T1 to T3 and not considered in T4. Chest wall includes ribs, intercostal muscles and serratus anterior muscles, but not pectoral muscles or pectorals major. Simultaneous bilateral breast carcinoma. So each carcinoma is staged as a separate primary carcinoma as a separate organ. If multiple simultaneous ipsilateral primary carcinomas are present, infiltrating macroscopically measurable and largest mass to classify as T. But in record sheet we have to enter that it is a special case of multiple simultaneous ipsilateral primary carcinoma and will be analyzed separately, and this kind of patient should be enrolled in multiple or randomized controlled trials. In 8th edition 2017, certain changes are there in which lobular carcinoma in situ is now no more considered in staging system because it is considered as a benign disease, a proliferative disease with associated risk of developing carcinoma in future. And classifications are labeled as anatomical stage table, routine, whatever we are looking this TNM staging, it is considered as an anatomical stage table. Clinical prognostic stage table, it includes TNM with tumor grading, HER2 status, ERPR status. And pathological prognostic stage table after resection of the specimen and whatever pathological examination has been done, that is classified as pathological prognostic stage table. So grossly, we will see according to stage 5-hour survival rate. So stage, so this TNM is now classified into various stages. Breast carcinoma is staged as a stage 0, 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B, 3A, B, C, and stage 4. Stage 0 includes carcinoma in situ, 5-hour survival rate is 95%. 1A includes T1 mic and T1N0M0, survival rate is 85%. 1B is included with T0 to 1 but N1 mic. If micrometastasis in lymph nodes after radiological and pathological investigations we found 0.2 mm to 0.2 mm, then it is considered as 1B, survival is 85%. Stage 2 survival is 2A survival is 70%, 2B survival is 60%. 2A includes tumor of more than 2 or equal to 2 to 5 centimeter in size or ipsilateral axillary lymph nodes only. Tumor of less than 2 centimeter size with axillary lymph nodes. So stage progress is as lymph node, stage progress, lymph node, stage progresses or size progresses. In both the type, both the condition, stage, total stage is progressing. Stage 2B again, it becomes T2 with N1 or it is T3, size is more than 5 centimeter. 3A again, more than 5 centimeter with N1 or T1 to 3 with N2. Once it is N2, fixed mated limbs or both axillary and if internal memory nodes are is N2 and it becomes stage 3, 3A. Once T4, it is called as stage T3B, locally advanced breast carcinoma. So nowadays whole stage 3 is considered as locally advanced breast carcinoma. If it is 3A, survival is 55%, but once there is an involvement of the skin and chest wall, survival decreases up to 30%. Stage 3C is specifically for N3 supraclavicular lymph nodes with any 3, it is stage 3C. And stage 4 with metastasis, including micrometastasis, is 5 to 10%. Now we will see treatment, we will see overview of treatment and various surgical and non-surgical options of treatment of breast carcinoma. So treatment overview, usually breast carcinoma is managed according to stage, and once staging has been done, staging will give you idea regarding what kind of chemotherapy, surgical options we can choose and what can be effect of treatment, what can be, whether it is curable or not curable, or what will be the overall survival rate or prognosis. So stage 0, it is considered as a carcinoma in situ. If mammographic findings are there and no other symptoms are there, or it is found in the screening, we can keep patient in surveillance. If patients are high risk, positive history, family hereditary breast carcinoma, or pathology or cytology suggestive of high-grade tumor, prophylactic mastectomy or excision with surrounding normal tissue is preferable. Stage 1 and stage 2 is considered as early breast carcinoma, especially if stage 1. So stage 1 is a tumor is up to 2 centimeter in size. Then breast conserving surgery is preferable, plus whole breast radiotherapy, chemotherapy or hormone therapy if tumor is high grade or patient is high risk. Stage 2A, 2B, again early breast carcinoma, and it is size is 2 to 5 centimeters. So more than 2 centimeter size of the tumor. So there are more chances of lymph node metastasis, and So that classical management is modified radical mastectomy followed by chemotherapy, radiotherapy if biopsy suggestive of margins and base is positive, and hormone therapy depends on status of ERPR receptor status. Stage 3 is considered as a locally advanced breast carcinoma. So LABC, nowadays classical management is neoadjuvant chemoradiotherapy followed by modified radical mastectomy followed by completion chemoradiotherapy and hormone therapy. Stage 4 disease is considered as a non-curable disease. So what we can do only palliation. So hormone chemotherapy can be, if patient is morbid and frail, only hormone therapy is enough. But if evidence of distant metastases are there and which are manageable, so chemotherapy or a mastectomy can be done to decrease tumor load. So which surgical procedures are there from radical to conservative? So initially that was the radical mastectomy advised by Halsted. Now converted into modified radical mastectomy, Pettis, cannulon and Auchincloss. Depends on removal of the tissue, these surgeries are named. Radical mastectomy holes are used to remove whole breast tissue with nipple areola complex, with pectoralis major, minor, both muscles, and with all lymph nodes level 1, 2, 3. Modified radical mastectomy, Pettis has modified it, and Petty used to remove whole breast tissue with nipple areola complex with removal of the pectoralis minor and level 1, 2, 3 lymph nodes. Cannulon used to not remove pectoralis muscle, only cutting pectoralis minor. And Auchincloss nowadays routinely practiced, in which there is no removal or cutting off of muscle, only axillary dissection is up to level 1 and 2 is enough. Simple mastectomy, only removal of the breast tissue with skin, nipple areola complex. Skin sparing mastectomy, in which breast tissue with nipple areola complex has been removed, and nipple areola complex skin sparing mastectomy, in which nipple areola complex and skin is spared, especially in early breast carcinoma. Breast conserving surgery, again lobectomy, wide excision or segmentectomy. So only tumor with surrounding normal breast tissue up to 1 to 2 centimeter size, and certain breast reconstruction procedures. So these are the surgical options in management of breast carcinoma. Another important segment is axillary dissection. So if axillary lymph nodes are clinically not palpable, it is called as axilla negative. So do not require axillary lymph node dissection, but in negative patient prevents recurrence in axilla but has no effect on overall survival. So if it is axilla negative and tumor is T1, T2 size, we can offer sentinel lymph node dissection rather than doing axillary dissection. Axilla is positive, palpable and large lymph node, then it is preferred to do dissection with MRM. Exception is ALDD avoided even if LND positive in tubular variety with tumor less than 1 centimeter size, ER positive who are too old or ill. And axillary lymph node involvement diagnosed by sentinel concept. So clinically negative axilla, only sentinel nodes, 2 or 4 nodes can be removed. Breast reconstruction. So there are two types of reconstruction, immediate reconstruction and delayed reconstruction. So immediate reconstruction can be done in T1, T2, early breast carcinoma after mastectomy. So interference with the detection of recurrence and chemotherapy not proved. Implant should be avoided in patients with chest wall radiation with little tissue to cover implant and in patients with autoimmune disease. Tissue expanders can be used in some cases. Delayed reconstruction is in advanced cases. We first remove breast MRM. Patient is subjected to adjuvant therapy. Patient come out of this adjuvant therapy in form of chemotherapy or radiotherapy, and then we can offer some reconstructive procedure. So these are the implants, with implants, so saline or silicone implants is there, and flaps or many times mixed implants with flap repair. So this is a with implant. Silicone implant is kept just anterior to this breast bed or pectoral fascia. and we can see that there is a valve, so we can induce, instill saline and we can expand it. So it is also called as tissue expander. Tissue reconstruction can be used natural tissue, single step procedure. So this is the example of latissimus dorsi flap reconstruction with parent vascularity of the skin. This is the latissimus dorsi flap over implant. Implant is there and then it is covered by this latissimus dorsi flap. And transverse rectus abdominis myocutaneous flap is also done, which vessels from inferior epigastric vessel. Non-surgical management. Non-surgical management includes chemotherapy, radiotherapy, hormone therapy. So in chemotherapy, it can be single agent chemotherapy, cyclophosphamide, anthracycline, groups, methotrexate or Herceptin, but it is not effective, and nowadays multiple agent chemotherapy, combined chemotherapy is routinely used. So regime is there. First is CMF regime, cyclophosphamide, methotrexate, 5-fluorouracil. CAF regime, anthracycline containing drugs, cyclophosphamide, adriamycin, 5-fluoro, and later on adriamycin, cyclophosphamide followed by taxanes. So depends on risk of the patient. Low risk patient are there, more than 55 years of age, ERPR positive, and favorable pathology. CMF regime or CF regime is sufficient. But if patient is high risk and favorable pathology is not there, and patient has a family history or hereditary carcinoma, so we have to include taxanes. Basically, taxanes are second-line drug therapy in chemotherapy. So, accordingly, first-line regime is CMF and CF. Second-line drugs are taxanes, paclitaxel or docetaxel, effective in anthracycline-resistant tumor. And third-line drugs are Vinca, clordipine, vinblastine, vinorelbine, vincristine, and vindicine. Disadvantages are granulocytopenic sepsis, these are the reserved drugs when these first-line, second-line drugs are all not effective, or tumor is resistant, or there is recurrence already subjected to previous drugs. Dosage schedule will be like that. In CMF, we do IV bolus day 1 for every 21 days for 8 cycles. So cyclophosphamide is given 600 milligram per meter square. Methotrexate is given 40 milligram and 5-fluorouracil 600. So 640, 600. CF is regime is given again IV bolus on day 1 every 21 days for 6 cycles. 550, 500. Cyclophosphamide 500 milligram meter square. Adriamycin 50 milligram per meter square and 5-fluorouracil 500 milligram per meter square. AC, adriamycin and cyclophosphamide, again IV bolus day 1 every 21 days for 4 cycles. Adriamycin is given in 60 milligram per meter square, cyclophosphamide again 600 milligram per meter square. Second line chemotherapy is ACT, so AC followed by T or D. IV bolus day 1 every 21 days, all AC is 4 cycles and followed by T 4 cycles, taxanes. So AC is as above. Taxanes can be given paclitaxel 175 milligram per meter square and docetaxel 100 milligram per meter square. Another variety is dose dense therapy. So IV bolus day 1 every 14 days and 4 cycles can be given for both AC and T with filgrastim support. So as above, doses of AC and T is as above. Another variety is HER2/neu receptor. So after pathological removal of or excision, pathological examination or core cut biopsy, we always require receptor status, hormone receptor status, ER, PR or HER2/neu. These are nowadays compulsory in all patients, especially advanced disease. So HER2/neu is a proto-oncogene and it is cell surface receptors overexpressed in 25 to 30% of breast cancer. Trastuzumab or Herceptin is the monoclonal antibody effective again this type of HER2 positive patients. Dosage is in combined therapy, again it is 4 milligram per kilogram followed by 2 milligram per kilogram for 18 weeks and 6 milligram per kilogram up to 52 weekly. Monotherapy can be given in dose of 8 milligram per kilogram for 1 week weekly. followed by 6 milligram per kilogram up to 1 year, fourth week to 1 year, thrice load 3 weekly. All over chemotherapy, there are toxicities very common. More than 25% are alopecia, amenorrhea, hot flushes. Less than 25% but common are edema, leukopenia, musculoskeletal pain, nausea. Uncommon, less than 10% are cushingoid defects, hypertension, leukopenic fever, neuropathy, stomatitis, thrombocytopenia, thrombophlebitis, and weight gain. Now we will see another non-surgical management is radiotherapy, or it is all, we can also call as adjuvant therapy. After surgery, if they are used, this is adjuvant therapy. And if in between, before surgery and after surgery, this is called as neoadjuvant therapy or sandwich therapy. So post-op radiotherapy reduces local recurrence and regional recurrence. Chest wall recurrence depends on tumor size. If 1 to 3 centimeter, chance is 10%. If it is more than 6 centimeter, chance is 30%. Axillary lymph node status up to 3 node positive, 5%. 4 to 7 nodes, is chance is 40%. So total dose is 5,000 to 6,000 centigrade. 4 distributed in 4 to 5 weeks and 5 days per week schedule. In node positive patient, axilla is positive, so post-op RT reduces local recurrence, distal metastasis, improves survival in premenopausal patient, especially when combined with chemotherapy. In non-negative patient, post-op RT is not indicated except when resected margins are involved with tumor. So current recommendations are there for tumor size more than 5 centimeter. If large size tumor is there, it is better to subject patient to radiotherapy. Stage 3 disease, locally advanced breast disease, positive resected margins, premenopausal for all patients with lymph node positive disease, and postmenopausal if more than 4 lymph nodes are there, then, and if less than 4 lymph node, only hormonal therapy will be sufficient. Complications are well known: arm edema, decreased shoulder mobility, rib fractures, pulmonary fibrosis, again cardiotoxicity, especially if given with anthracycline group of drugs. Hormonal therapy, again hormonal therapy are integral part of multimodality approach and is part of adjuvant therapy. So basically we can call it SERM, selective androgen receptor modulators. So for treatment of advanced breast cancer, for breast cancer prevention, there are studies in which there are 30% of survival is increased when we used this hormonal therapy for prevention purpose in high risk patients. So there are 3 types of SERM, 1, 2 and 3. In SERM 1 we can see raloxifene, widely used, routinely used drugs are there, useful for ER positive cases. Their mechanism of action is estrogen antagonist and agonistic both. Tamoxifen is given 20 milligram daily for 5 years and raloxifene is given 60 milligram daily for 3 to 5 years. Prevents recurrence in both breast, IPSI and contralateral breast. Side effects are endometrial carcinoma, thromboembolism, especially for tamoxifen. For raloxifene, there are less chances of endometrial carcinoma, but problem is more bone loss, less effective, and it is costlier. Some to includes in premenopausal woman, ovarian ablation, either surgical oophorectomy or non-surgical aminoglutathione. This is chemical ovarian ablation. LHRH agonist, goserelin can be used. In postmenopausal woman, preferable drug is aromatase inhibitor. It is a now first-line drug for postmenopausal women in hormonal therapy, and we can give letrozole 2.5 milligram per day, or anastrozole 1 milligram per day, or exemestane 25 milligram per day. It inhibits estrogen synthesis. It is contraindicated in premenopausal women. Reflex rise in gonadotropin is there. So, ideally, hormonal therapies are indicated for estrogen progesterone receptor positive. So, if we give this hormonal therapy in ERPR positive patient, response rate is more than 60%. And if it is given in ERPR negative patients, then response rate is less than 10%. Sum 3 is the last option. We can use progestin, megestrol, acetate when there is a patient come with metastasis after completion of therapy or patients having recurrence. Metastatic disease patient can present after completion of treatment. Once breast cancer is spread outside the breast and regional axillary lymph node, it is not curable. Now, whatever you can do is a palliation and to improve quality of life. Median life expectancy with newly diagnosed stage 4 breast cancer is about only 24 months. Palliative therapy and chemotherapy are only option. According to site of metastasis, management can be there. If metastasis in soft tissue or organs, if it is single, we can remove by surgically, or we can use some local radiotherapy or cryosurgery or radio frequency ablation. But if it is on multiple sites, chemotherapy can be tried, second line chemotherapy can be tried. And if it is bone metastasis, then we can use radiotherapy. Recurrence, again, is the integral part of disease. Recurrence is not uncommon. So if recurrence is after mastectomy, after surgery, 80% occurs within 5 years. Radiotherapy is the best treatment. Rarely it can be excised with skin and chest wall. If ER positive tumor, then hormone therapy can be added. But if these tissues are containing ER negative status, chemotherapy is the only option. After conservative surgery, BCS, breast conservative surgery, after only excising the tumor, if recurrence is there, prognosis is better than those mastectomy patients. And after majority life for more than 5 years, mastectomy is the treatment of choice for this kind of patients. Patient is already subjected to radiotherapy. Again, radiotherapy can be given with increased dosage. Now we will see certain special situations related to breast carcinoma, out of which nipple discharge, inflammatory carcinoma, pregnancy and breast carcinoma, Paget's disease, bilateral breast carcinoma, prophylactic mastectomy, male breast carcinoma, elderly breast carcinoma, rare carcinoma types, and pylords tumor. So first we will see nipple discharge. Nipple discharge is a not uncommon presentation for breast lump. So it can be manifestation of benign disease or it can be manifestation of malignant disease. Any type of nipple discharge, clear, bloody or serous, there are always chances of cancer. So if it is unilateral, spontaneous unilateral, localized to single duct and present in more than 40 years of age old woman, bloody or associated with mass, probably it is a carcinoma. Bilateral nipple discharge with multiductal involvement and occurs in women younger age, less than 39 years of age, or is milky or blue-green. It probably is a benign condition. Most commonly it is due to prolactinemia or pituitary tumors are main causes. Another entity is inflammatory carcinoma. It is again included in stage 3B, T4D. It is less than 3% of all breast carcinoma. It is the most malignant tumor in breast carcinoma. Skin changes of browny induration, erythema with raised age, and edema, rapid onset pudgy orange, involving more than 33% of breast due to tumor embolization of dermal lymphatics is considered as an inflammatory carcinoma. It is very difficult to differentiate between breast infectious or inflammatory breast disease, benign breast disease is formed inflammatory carcinoma if associated mass is not there, and inflammatory redness in breast will be equal, but typical is the involvement of more than 33% of breast with browny education is consist of inflammatory mass. May be associated with mass, it can be mistaken for bacterial infection, so it is a differential diagnosis in breast abscess or mastitis. More than 75% case has axillary lymph node palpable. In 25% of cases, distant metastases are already done. 5-year survival is less because it is a disease with poor prognosis. Treatment as if LABC, neoadjuvant chemotherapy, mastectomy, MRM, plus radiotherapy, and depends on hormonal status, hormone receptor status, hormone therapy. Pregnancy and breast carcinoma. It happens in 1 in 3,000 pregnant women. Most common pathology is ductal carcinoma in 75 to 90%. Problem is these tumors are ER negative. 75% the cases again axillary lymph node is positive. All nodules in pregnancy and lactation, less than 25 nodules are cancerous. So nodular disease in pregnancy and lactation, we should suspect this breast carcinoma. USGL needle biopsies are diagnostic. Mammography is not useful. Treatment option, if stage 1 and 2 disease, mastectomy with axillary dissection can be done in any stage. But in first stage, there is a risk due to anesthesia. Locally advanced breast carcinoma, again, neoadjuvant chemotherapy, containing chemotherapy every 3 weeks for 4 to 6 cycles after first trimester. MRM in second trimester and radiotherapy after delivery. Delivery should be planned 2 to 4 weeks after the last dose of chemo. Neutropenia should be avoided and filgrastim or erythropoietin should be given during pregnancy. Tamoxifen should not be used in pregnancy. Stage 4 disease, termination of the pregnancy with aggressive treatment is avoidable. Elective termination of the pregnancy is not recommended. There is no improvement on survival except for breast conservation on demand of patient. MRM can be performed during first and second trimester, chemotherapy after first trimester and radiotherapy after delivery. Chemotherapy during first trimester carries a risk of spontaneous abortion and 12% risk of birth defects given after first trimester. No evidence of teratogenicity by chemotherapy during second and third trimester. Breast cancer in pregnancy have prognosis stage by stage similar to that of non-pregnant women. Future pregnancy. If patient desire future pregnancy, what we can advise? If first carcinoma is early stage carcinoma with completed treatment and eradicated disease can become pregnant. But residual disease with ER positive negative status have bad prognosis and pregnancy will not alter progress. But if residual disease with receptor positive, then it suffer with subsequent pregnancy, will not advise for further future pregnancy. Recurrence rate peaked at 2 to 3 years. So women should wait for 3 years before planning a subsequent pregnancy. High risk patient pregnancy should be avoided for 3 to 5 years. If low risk, then patient should avoid pregnancy up to 3 years. Paget's disease of nipple is eczema-like eruption may progress to an ulcerated weeping ulcer is a sign suggestive of intraductal carcinoma or carcinoma in situ. Histopathology peculiarity is a Paget cells, large pale staining with round nuclei and large nuclei. Spread into lactiferous sinuses under the nipple and upward to invade everything overlying epidermis of the nipple. Doesn't invade dermal basement membrane. So it is considered as a carcinoma in situ. More than 97% have underlying ductal carcinoma in situ or invasive. Paget's disease 54% present with mass and 46% without mass. Mammography and biopsy to rule out occult multicentric disease. Simple mastectomy is a preferred option. Bilateral breast carcinoma. So in less than 5% cases, carcinoma, breast carcinoma is bilateral, but in 20 to 25% patient, there is a later occurrence of carcinoma in second breast. Once there is a breast carcinoma in one breast, there are chances of 20 to 25% development of cancer in opposite breast, and it increases with time about 1 to 2% per year. In familial breast carcinoma, an age is less than 50 years, and tumor in primary breast can be lobular carcinoma. Lobular carcinoma is usually bilateral breast carcinoma. Mammography is useful before primary treatment and during follow-up to find out occult carcinoma in upper breast. So, indications of prophylactic bilateral mastectomy. If hereditary breast carcinoma with mutations, gene mutations, bilateral multifocal ductal or lobular carcinoma in situ, unilateral carcinoma in situ with contralateral atypical ductal hyperplasia, bilateral atypical ductal hyperplasia with first degree relative has history of premenopausal breast carcinoma, bilateral high risk proliferative breast histology with two or more first degree relative with premenopausal breast carcinoma, or there is a history of bilateral breast carcinoma in relatives. Any of above with BRCA1-2 gene mutations is indication of prophylactic bilateral mastectomy. Male breast carcinoma. It is 1% of all carcinoma in male and all breast carcinoma. There is a estrogen-androgen imbalance is responsible, and definitely there is mutation of BRCA1, BRCA2, Cowden disease, PTEN mutations are also important. Etiology can be there with testicular injury due to mumps, trauma, undescended testis, Klinefelter syndromes, and liver failure. Male breast carcinoma, then with male with breast carcinoma, then sisters, daughters have 2 to 3-fold increased risk. Infiltrating rectal carcinoma in 70% of the patient, usually it is receptor positive. Treatment is BCT, depends on stage of disease, size of tumor, and or standard therapy, modified radical mastectomy with adjuvant radio chemotherapy. Tamoxifen is given in ER-positive patient, response rate is 80%. So high-grade tumors and with aggressive behavior in male breast carcinoma, so overall outcome is poor as compared to female breast carcinoma. Breast carcinoma in elderly, biological factors are usually favorable. These are usually tubular variety, papillary variety, and pathology is favorable. Low-grade tumors are there. Most 85% of the tumors are receptor positive. But for frail orders with comorbidity and ER positive, surgery plus tamoxifen or only tamoxifen can be given. Others or with advanced disease as per younger patient, the protocol are maintained. Other rare carcinoma of breast are there, squamous cell carcinoma. These are metaplasia within the duct system, usually present with axillary metastasis and distant metastasis. Adenoid cystic carcinoma accounting for less than 0.1%, and these cancers are usually small size, 1 to 3 centimeter in size. Apocrine cancers are rare, and these are the well-differentiated cancer, rounded vesicular nuclei and prominent nucleoli. Results are very good if found earlier and treated. Sarcomas, so fibrosarcoma, malignant fibro, these are the routine, whatever routine pathology is there in other body parts. Cyclosarcoma can be present in breast. Clinical present is usually large and painless mass with rapid growth. Diagnosis can be confirmed by core-needle biopsy or incisional biopsy. Treatment is wide local excision or it may necessitate mastectomy. Angiosarcoma, again it is not uncommon. It is classified as de novo, as a post-radiation or arising in association with post-mastectomy lymphedema, especially in women where there is a axillary dissection has been done and radiotherapy is given. So average interval between modified radical or radical mastectomy and development of angiosarcoma is 7 to 10 years. 60% of women developing this cancer have history of adjuvant radiation therapy. 4-quarter amputation may be necessary to palliate the ulcerative complications and advanced lymphedema. Lymphomas, primary lymphomas of breast are not common but rare, and there are two distinct clinico-pathological varieties. One type is Burkitt's lymphoma, present in less than 39 years of age present, bilateral. Second type is B-cell type and present in more than 40 years of age patients. Lumpectomy or mastectomy may be required. Axillary dissection for staging and for clearance of palpable disease is appropriate. Recurrent or progressive local regional disease best managed by chemotherapy and radiation therapy. Phyllodes tumor, these are range of benign to borderline or malignant. Borderline tumors have greater potential for local recurrence and conversion into malignant tumor. The gross cut tumor surface, it's classical leaf-like, the phyllodes appearance, so that it is called as phyllodes tumor, and there is a misnomer is cystosarcoma phyllodes. Basically, it is not a sarcoma of connective tissue of breast. Most malignant phylloid tumors contain liposarcomatous or rhabdomyosarcomatous elements rather than fibrosarcomatous elements. Excision is a treatment. Recurrence was there, the excise, and finally we can do mastectomy. Axillary dissection is not required as lymph node metastases are rare, but if it is malignant, then pulmonary metastasis is common. So Thank you very much for your